Is it working? Yeah, it's working. Kathryn, my name is Dana Facemeyer, and we've never met before. Is that right?
Correct.
But I've always known you as Kate because everyone seems to call you Kate.
Correct.
Is it okay if I call you Kate?
Yes.
I'll do that. Kate, the very last question asked of you today by prosecution. Sorry, just getting my stuff.
Is he trying to sound sexy?
It was about marijuana. I'll be honest, I did not think that would be the last question asked you. I was surprised. And you said you use marijuana, or you had used marijuana. Is that right?
Yes.
And you've now been incarcerated. You're wearing a prison uniform, correct?
Yes.
And so
Prison
you've
uniform.
been clean off controlled substances for some time.
Yes. I just received my 18-month chip.
18 months. That means you've been incarcerated 18 months.
Yes.
And congratulations. Being clean is being happy.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Do you feel that you've had any disabling effects from your marijuana use?
I believe so.
What are some of those effects you've experienced?
I'm just not myself. I don't think clearly. You're almost in a, for lack of a better word, psychosis.
Yeah. You're aware of marijuana psychosis then, right?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, the National Institute of Drug Abuse refers to marijuana as being a substance, cannabinoid, as causing psychosis. You're aware of that?
Yes.
What other symptoms do you think have you experienced due to your marijuana use?
I'm not 100% sure.
Lack of memory?
Yes, lack of memory, slowed reaction.
And today, the problem we have with this case is we're asking for you to have great memory, aren't we?
Yeah, and I've never had great memory.
Yeah.
So
And so that's hard. And it's not anyone's fault except really your own that you decided to be a chronic marijuana user. Is that right?
I would disagree. I've had a lot of childhood trauma, and I don't remember a lot of my childhood. And
Okay.
I did not start smoking marijuana until I was 17.
17. So this picture is right near you. I think this is exhibit 1. Is that right? Yeah. This picture, exhibit 1, is your family tree in a large sense. Is that right?
Yes.
And left out of this picture are is your father or other fathers, except for Matt. Is that right?
Correct.
But you did state in your testimony that you were visited in Temecula by Terlin and your father.
He was in the car with her.
Yeah.
At the time, I didn't really have a good relationship with him. So it was,
At the time you did not?
yes.
Okay.
So it was just more or less an in passing kind of thing.
Okay.
I didn't really have much of a conversation with him that day.
How old are you today?
How old am I?
Yeah.
I'm 38.
38. And so you were first incarcerated when you're 36?
Yes, I
37?
believe so.
36?
October 29th of 2024.
So if I go 18 plus 18, that's 36, right?
Okay.
And so half of your year or half of your life has been being a chronic marijuana user. Is that right?
Sounds about right.
You also talked about that you had a trailer on your property in Temecula that was your smoking trailer, I guess. Was there a different
Yes.
name for it?
I called it my smoking camper because it was a little sliding camper that you put. It actually went in the back of, it fit in the back of the truck that we owned. So it was a little camper. It didn't have wheels.
But was this your place?
I shared it with my husband, but he had gotten it for me.
Yeah. And was he a marijuana smoker as well?
Yes, he was.
And was he a drinker as well?
Yes, he was.
Were you a drinker?
Not as heavily as he was. I quit smoking. I quit drinking about, I want to say January of 2024.
Okay.
Is that what it is? Yeah.
Okay. So with this marijuana use, the purpose of the marijuana use, I would imagine, would be to have, to get high, right? That's one purpose.
Yes.
And did you have any other purposes for your marijuana use?
I liked it to suppress my appetite,
Mhm.
and I enjoyed the actual recreational of the smoking.
And through 18 years of it, you and Matt joined in that marijuana partying kind of experience or smoking kind of experience, right?
Correct.
And in California, there came a point in time where it was legal recreationally, right?
Yes, it's been legal recreationally for a long time in California.
Well, that's where it ended. It ended with marijuana. So I thought we'd at least talk about that, where it ended. So thank you.
Okay.
In your family tree here, we have Tara Lynn, whose name is Fisher, but that's not her last name, is it?
That's spelled incorrectly, but yes, that is her last name. Fischer.
Thank you. But Tara Lynn's maiden name is what?
Ellis.
Ellis. And then there's Kevin Ellis.
Yes.
And then there's Kathryn. Are you an Ellis?
Yes, I am.
And then there's Tim Ellis, right?
Yes.
And all four of these kids are Tracey's children, right?
Correct. All 7 of those are her children.
I understand. But all four of them have from the Ellis line of family. Is that right?
Yes.
And then we have Rachel Jorgensen, but that's her married name, right?
Correct.
What's Rachel's last name?
Trujillo is her maiden name.
Okay. And then we have Jacob Trujillo, right?
Correct.
So that's a different father, Rachel and Jacob, for the other 4 children. Is that right?
Yes.
And then we have, I'm just going to call her Rory. Everyone else calls her Rory, and I used to live in Aurora, Illinois, but I'm going to call her Rory if that's okay.
I call her Ari, but yes, call
Ari?
her Rory.
Okay. And Ari France,
Yes.
is that a different father than the Trujillos?
Yes.
Okay. So we have mom, Tracey, my client, your mother, and she has three groups of children from 3 different men, right?
Correct.
So can I ask, how did Tracey end her relationship with Mr. Ellis?
I was 9, so I'm not 100% sure. I'm pretty sure there was infidelity.
Did she kill him?
No,
Did she divorce him?
she did.
And where did that divorce take place?
California.
California. And then we have Mr. Trujillo, right?
Yes.
And how did Tracey end the Trujillo relationship?
How was it?
How did it end?
It ended in a divorce.
In divorce. And then the Franz, how did the Franz relationship end?
In a divorce.
Now, where did the Ellis divorce take place? Do you know? Did it take place in Utah?
No, it took, I believe the only divorce that took place in Utah was the one that she had to Bruce Grist, the last name that she carries now. And that one took place in Utah. Every other one took place in California.
So all of these children portions took place in California.
Correct.
Okay. And it turned out okay, didn't it?
Sure.
I mean, the kids were with mom, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
and you had a life with 7, 1, 2, 3, 7. I mean, you were one of 7, right? And it was okay, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was okay.
And the life didn't come to an end because your mom got a divorce in California.
Correct.
And it didn't come to an end after the second divorce in California.
Correct.
In fact, you saw your mom doing some pretty good things during your life. And I don't mean things like creating Google or Apple.com, but she did some pretty good things while living in the Temecula area as a divorced woman. Is that right?
Sure.
She had a job?
I believe it was all under the table, and what she did for a job is up for question.
She had a job? Do you remember that question? That's a yes or no.
No, I don't remember her having a real job.
So she never worked, to your understanding, during the time that she had the kids, the 7 kids.
Yes, she worked.
Okay, thank you. That wasn't a trick question. I was just trying to give you a question. And I guess the question is, and this whole question that everybody in this case is asking is, Why was it necessary to go from I can't get a divorce and I'm going to lose my kids when you have a prime example right here, of someone who got a divorce and didn't lose their kids and didn't kill anyone to get it to happen? So why do you think the reason is that you chose to be a murderer?
I don't think that's a fair question. It was planned by my mother.
I see. Do you remember when you were arrested on this case?
I do.
And when approximately was that?
October 29th. I was picking up my daughter from school.
Thank you once. Okay. So, is there a reason why you felt murder was the more appropriate end of your relationship with Matt than divorce?
Because my mom posed it as the best idea.
Do you remember saying here in court today that the reason you did is because you didn't want to lose your children?
It was one of the reasons why, yes,
Why would you think you'd lose your children?
because he would take them away from me.
Why would he take them away from you? Is he a better parent than you?
No, but he would, I feel like he would say what he needed to say to get me to look like an unfit mother.
Are you an unfit mother?
I don't feel I am.
Okay. Are there any examples in your possible divorce world where you could have shown that you are not an unfit mother? That you cared for your children?
Yes,
That you fed your children?
yes,
That you provided for your children?
yes.
That Matt was somewhat aggressive with the children?
It's a possibility.
Well, is that or not that you could have provided that information?
I have no police records of me calling the cops on him, but I have multiple voice recordings and videos, but they were recorded without his permission. So it's not something that I would be able to use in court.
Who told you that?
California?
Who told you that?
I don't know.
Did anyone tell you that?
I don't know.
You just making it up?
I don't think I'm making it up. I think it's something that I've heard like on Google.
On Google? Is Google your lawyer?
No.
Okay. So in your opportunity to talk about divorce, you also have family members who have seen the aggressive behavior of Matt toward the children. Isn't that true?
Yes.
And who are those family members that have seen that?
I believe the only one who's actually hasn't seen it is Rory.
Yeah. So you have a bunch of witnesses you could have come and testify why you should be the custodial mom, right?
Sure.
And Matt should not be the custodial mom, or I'm sorry, the custodial father, right?
Yes.
Very similar to the example your mom has set, where your mom has been the custodial parent of the Ellis kids, right?
Yes.
And your mom was the custodial parent of the Trejo kids, right?
Correct.
And your mom was the custodial parent of the Franz child, right?
Yes.
You have an example on how that happens, right?
Yes.
Why did you continually take recordings of yourself and Matt during arguments?
Because like I said prior, I have a terrible memory, and especially in traumatic experiences, I forget what's said. So I originally recorded them so I could replay them, so I could remember the terrible names that he called me, the crappy things that he accused me of.
Like what?
Calling me a bitch, telling me that I was a cheater,
sorry.
telling me,
Yeah. My question, like what was, you said of the things he accused me of. What did he accuse you of?
calling me a cheater, telling me that all my life choices are the reason why we are in poverty, telling me that the reason why our truck is breaking down is because I drive it.
Do you agree with him?
No, I don't.
Do you agree that your life choices of poverty are because of you?
No.
What is your thoughts on why you and Matt were having a life of poverty?
He was dealing with a tax issue and he owed a substantial amount of money to
And
the
that's,
IRS.
and that's the reason for your poverty.
One of the reasons.
Is there any other reasons?
He didn't have a job. I didn't have a job.
He didn't work, did he?
No, he did not.
Did that help the family?
No, it did not.
How long did he not work?
I'm not 100% sure.
A lot?
More often than not.
Is there ever a time when his work was substantial or the money was not as difficult a situation in your relationship with Matt?
Yeah, there was points where he had a substantial amount of money.
And what was the income vein during that time?
He was a hay broker.
A hay broker?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And any other crops?
He did dirt work. He ran a skip loader and a bobcat, and he did dirt work for many different people.
Landscaping, excavating style work?
Yes,
And when did that stop?
in 2020.
And so from 2020 to 2024, he was not working much.
Correct.
Were you working much?
No, I was at home with my children.
So you were the caretaker of the children.
I was.
I need to organize myself just for a minute here, please. In relation to your family here, and I'm looking at your siblings and your mom, is there a person that you communicated with the most out of this group?
Carolyn.
And how often would you talk to Carolyn?
Every other day, if not daily.
So you had a lot of communication with Carolyn.
Yes.
Do you realize in the trial today, you testified that you spoke to your mom daily? Do you remember saying that?
I don't believe I said that I talked to her daily, but it was at least every other day. When she moved to Utah, when she's in 2020, being in Utah, she worked a lot of hours, and there was more often than not, she was tired, and there was only certain points where we knew that we could catch her.
Who came up with the idea to move to Utah?
Bruce and my mother.
Yeah. Did Carolyn have any involvement with that?
I don't know.
With you, I mean.
Well, with me going to Utah?
Yeah. Did she have something to say about that?
Yeah, Carolyn agreed with it.
And was there ever a plan to get a storage unit and things of that nature? I mean, we've seen some text messages.
Yes, I had a storage unit.
And whose plan was it to get a storage unit?
I believe my mom and my sister came up with that.
Isn't it true that we have a text that says Carolyn came up with that idea to start?
I'm not sure of the text message, but
And that your
it
mom sent
sounds
you,
possible.
and that your mom sent you a credit card to assist in that?
Not in the storage unit, but in the rental car.
And the storage unit was provided only a day or 2 days max before you left the state of California, right?
No, I had it for about 2 weeks before I left California.
Okay. And so were you filling it up gradually then
Yes.
through those 2 weeks?
Yes, I was acting as if I was donating things, taking things out in big black trash bags, acting as if I was selling things.
Council, can I see up here for a second, please?
So as this case began this week, your statement is that you wanted to have an opportunity to provide justice for your children, is why you're here today, right?
Yes,
Justice for Matt
yes,
and for the truth.
yes, and justice for his family, his friends, his community, my family, justice for everybody.
And that's why you're here to testify today.
Yes.
When did you start thinking about giving justice and truth a try?
I don't recall when I went to my attorney to ask for the plea deal.
Had you had an opportunity to review your case before you had talked to your attorney about that?
I don't believe I was given anything before the plea deal.
So
I can't recall.
So from October 29th, November, December, January, do you know what happened in January?
Yes, my brother's trial.
Your brother had a preliminary hearing. Wasn't
Yes.
a trial, it was a preliminary hearing.
Excuse me.
And at the preliminary hearing of 2025, the state put on evidence against your brother, isn't that right?
Yes.
And you were aware of that hearing, weren't you?
Yes, I was not a part of that hearing.
No, but you were aware of it. Is that correct?
Yes, I knew it was happening.
They put on exhibits very similar to the exhibits we have here. Were you aware of that?
I did not see any of the exhibits.
Were you ever told that by your lawyer?
I don't recall.
Did you ever know about, I don't know, the text messages?
I did not ever see the text messages until here in trial. I was given a transcript of Kevin's actual, I believe his preliminary, and I don't believe any of the text messages were read out loud.
So I'll try again. Did you know about the text messages?
That I sent?
Yeah.
Yeah, when I sent them, I knew about them.
And did you know that you were being arrested back in October 25, 29, based of 24, based upon these text messages?
I knew I was being arrested for the murder of my husband.
And did you know that the evidence they had was at least some of the text messages that you had sent
I can assume, yes.
and some of the phone calls that you recorded?
Oh, absolutely.
And you knew the evidence against you.
Yes.
And you knew the evidence against you in November of 24, December of 24. You knew that the evidence against you certainly of January 24, because your brother spent 2 days at least in a trial setting similar like this, where witnesses were called and exhibits were shown to the court. And he was found to have at least probable cause to commit the offenses. You knew that hearing took place, right?
Yes.
And then you went through February, March, April, May, and then sometime May and June is when you decided, I'm going to come forward and tell the truth,
Yes, because nobody else is going to.
because no one else is going to. You realize today that you have satisfied your responsibility with the state of Utah, right?
If that's what they see fit, yes.
You realize today you're testifying and you're satisfying your responsibility to the state of Utah, the prosecution. You realize that today, correct?
Now that you say it out loud, yes.
You're only responsible now to the state of Utah is to complete your time. You realize that, right?
I do now that you're saying it out loud.
Makes sense though, doesn't it?
Yes,
You testified in your brother's trial a
I
couple
did.
months ago, correct?
I did.
You're testifying today, correct?
Yes,
And you're testifying, telling them that you're going to tell the truth.
yes,
That was their request, right?
yes.
And so as you're here today, good memory or bad memory, you're trying your best to tell the truth.
I am.
I'm a little confused as the case has gone on about some of the charges. You pled to murder, right?
Murder in the second degree.
In the second degree. Are you aware whether or not there is a murder in the second degree on the statutes of Utah
I don't know. I just know it's a second degree felony.
on your case?
Yes.
Yes. Are you aware that in the statutes of Utah, there are no murders in the second degree? And only a plea deal that you got brought it to a second degree?
You saying it out loud? Yes,
You pled to conspiracy.
I did.
Was that an option? Well, in other words, were you able to just plead to murder?
No,
Did you have to plead to conspiracy?
I was originally charged with 5 different charges. And when they returned with my plea deal, those are the charges that they gave me the option of pleading
Murder?
guilty to or not guilty.
Murder, right? Conspiracy,
Yes.
right? And then criminal discharge of a firearm.
Yes, sir.
Now, that wasn't an original charge, was it?
No, it was not.
But in the end, they gave you criminal discharge of a firearm as a first-degree felony.
Yes.
First is worst in the state of Utah. Were you aware of that?
Yes.
First is worst. So your criminal discharge of a firearm was your worst first-degree felony. It's your only first-degree felony, right?
Yes.
And then you got murder reduced to a second-degree felony and conspiracy a second-degree felony.
Yes.
Did you ever ask to not plead to some of these charges?
I asked for a reduction. I spoke with my attorney and I wanted the first degree felony moved down to a second degree felony. And I was told that was not an option.
Did you want the criminal discharge of a firearm reduced to a second-degree felony?
I did.
And that was not an option.
That's what I was told.
Are you aware that there's an officer going to testify in this trial to talk about the conspiracy between you, your brother, and your mother?
Yes, I believe his name is Detective Nordine.
Yes. Are you aware that Detective Nordine was of the opinion that the Apple AirTag placed in the truck had an original theory of murder during your Disney trip in February earlier that year?
I did not know that.
Yeah, he testified to that. Do you agree with him?
No, I do not. The Apple tag was not placed in the truck in the Disney trip. It was placed the day I left for Utah.
So there are certain things the officer might have testified to that you were able to clear up. Is that right?
I would hope so.
Is that a yes or a no?
Yes.
And indeed, the idea of the Apple AirTag was presented to you from who?
My older sister, Carolyn.
Yeah. And she told you I'd put an AirTag in the truck, right?
Correct?
And your testimony earlier today was that you wanted an AirTag in the truck because you wanted, hold on one moment. Is that you were fearful of Matt
Yes.
and you wanted to see where he was going.
Yes.
Why'd you want to see where he was going?
Because I was genuinely fearful of him on whether or not he would come and hurt me and the kids.
Hurt you and the kids?
Yes. Yes.
What about if he was going to the bar? Is that one reason why you wanted to have an AirTag in his truck?
It was an added bonus. Yes. It
Okay.
also caught him in a lie.
I'm sorry?
It also caught him in a lie. So I'm thankful I had the AirTag.
What kind of lie?
He lied to me and told me that the truck was towed when in fact I knew that it was not.
And was this after you'd already come to Utah?
This is the day that I came to Utah.
Now, when you say fearful of Matt, you've described that Matt has not been physically violent with you. Is that right?
He has punched me once, but that was years before we got married.
Great. When'd you get married?
2016, November 2016.
Isn't it true you previously testified that he punched you early in your relationship?
Yes.
And your relationship began in 2008?
Yes.
So is it fair to say in 2008 is when you say that Matt punched you?
It was probably 2011.
So 3 years into the marriage, halfway
I was into the relationship.
in the relationship. Okay.
We had a very off and on relationship. It was very toxic.
And is that the only time that Matt ever physically assaulted you?
Yes.
He'd never physically assaulted you any other time, right?
No, not that I can recall.
And especially since the date of marriage to today, right?
Correct.
But you can't say the same for yourself, can you?
I'm sorry.
Did you ever physically assault him?
We had issues. Yes. I got arrested for domestic violence.
You got arrested for domestic violence.
I did.
And why do you think Matt would now all of a sudden be violent against you? I don't know, 18 years later. Well, like 2011, you said was when the assault allegedly occurred when he punched you?
Yes.
Okay, so that's 21, that's 10, 5, 15 years later. Why do you think all of a sudden Matt would become violent?
Because he was very verbally abusive. He would scream in my face.
Did you ever scream in his face?
Not as bad as he would scream in mine, but yes.
Yeah, indeed, you have videos of you and he screaming at each other, right?
Yes.
And do you remember the video about the wet tortillas?
Sure. Yeah.
And you videoed a video between you and him arguing with each other. You remember that?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And you did it subversively at first, didn't you? He didn't know you were videoing him in the beginning of that video, did he?
No, and that's why I can't use a lot of it as ammo against him.
Why?
Why? Because it wasn't recorded without it was recorded without his knowledge.
So what does that matter?
I don't know.
Me neither. I mean, I'm a lawyer and I don't know what you're saying.
Okay.
So you had a video of you and him arguing in front of each other, right?
Mhm.
About a wet
Yes.
tortilla on his dinner.
Yes.
Being basically abusive to each other, weren't you?
Sure.
According to your definition of abuse, yelling and being verbally abusive. That's what you have defined as abusive, correct?
Yes.
And do you remember who else was in the room during that video?
My children.
So you videotaped your children and you and your husband being physically abusive to him. How long did that video last? Do you remember?
No, I don't.
More than a minute?
I don't remember.
More than 5 minutes?
I don't remember.
Do you remember sending it to your sister?
I did.
Why do you send it to your sister? Why do you send a video?
You can
of-
see. So
Let me
she-
ask my question first. I'm
Sure.
sorry. I'll retract and restate. Why did you send a video to your sister showing you and your husband verbally abusing each other while your children are crying over wet tortillas? Why would you send that out to people?
I don't believe they were crying over wet tortillas. I believe my husband was the only one crying over wet tortillas.
Were your children crying?
I don't recall the video. I haven't seen it in over a year and a half.
Well, maybe we'll play it. Do you remember him finding out you were videoing him?
In the video that you're speaking of?
Yes.
Yes, he told me, I believe he told me to
Quit
shut it
videoing.
off and delete it.
Yeah, he wanted you to delete these abusive moments in your relationship.
Absolutely.
Did you marry Matt because you loved him?
I thought I did. Yeah.
Do you now, thinking back, think you didn't?
I think it was a very toxic relationship, and I think that we should have walked away years prior.
Did you begin your relationship of living together because you loved him?
I guess.
It's not
I
a trick
wasn't
question.
pregnant. I wasn't pregnant. That's not the reason why we shacked up.
And did you continue being with each other because you loved each other to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
And did you get married because you loved each other to the best of your knowledge?
We got married because I said I would not have children with him unless we were married.
Did you have children because you loved each other?
Sure.
Is that hard to say?
I don't know how much I actually loved him.
You know those phone calls we heard earlier today between you and Matt on his drive up here?
Yes.
Did you have moments where you're thinking you loved him?
I had moments where I was thinking that I was going to regret taking somebody else's life.
That's the only thing you thought of.
He was a good person in some points. We had good and bad in our relationship.
Do you remember my
I
question?
wish. No,
My
repeat it.
question was, when you called him on his drive up here, did you have moments when you called him because you loved him?
I don't recall.
Did you call him on the drive up?
Yes, I did.
Were you forced to do that?
No, I was not forced.
Did you do it of your own volition?
Yes.
But there are a lot of things that happened between your relationship that caused real deep hurt, right?
Yes.
Including an affair, right?
Yes.
And you said to us in the court here today that you were never truthful about it.
Correct.
What does that mean?
He never knew it actually happened.
He never knew, or he never suspected, or you never told him?
He never knew. There's no way that he would know. No one ever told him. But he suspected that I had an affair on him.
He had questioned you,
Yes,
About
he
it.
did. Yes, he did.
and you lied.
Yes, I did.
Do you recall a conversation that you had with Tracey regarding Kevin and his willingness to kill Matt?
I don't know if it was willingness to kill him, but I know that she had posed a situation to him.
Were you there?
No, I was not,
Then how do you know?
because she texted me about it.
Said Matt or Kevin's willing to kill Matt.
She said Kevin's feeling suicidal. And I told him, she being that she told him that if he was going to do it, go off Matt first, and then then he can finish himself off.
Let's talk about Kevin for a moment. Do you know how long Kevin had been living with Tracey up to the time you came to Utah?
I believe 3 years.
3 years.
I believe 3 years. I could be mistaken.
And what was the impetus of Kevin moving in with his mom?
He got a restraining order and broken up with, had a restraining order put on him, and he had moved from Chicago,
To.
Utah.
So he was in Chicago and he went to Utah because he had broken up with a girlfriend,
Yes, I believe it was his fiance.
fiance. And when he came to Utah, was he depressed?
I wasn't there when he got there. I was not around, nor did I text him, but I can assume
Were you told he was depressed?
my mother might have told me that he was depressed.
Might have. Does that mean you don't recall?
Correct.
So you don't recall your mom saying that Kevin was depressed?
When he first got out there, I don't remember whether or not she said he was depressed. I do remember her saying that she had to talk him off the ledge a couple years later.
A couple years later. Was this before the Disney trip?
I believe it was after the Disney trip.
So many years later, after the Disney trip, he was depressed. Or not many years.
It was a couple.
Many
2
years after he came to Utah, he was depressed.
So if he was only in Utah for 3 years, and then a year later, 2 years later.
Isn't it true that actually Kevin suffered through depression well before the Disney trip? And the Disney trip, he was just fine and had a great time.
I didn't spend much time with him on the actual Disney trip. We saw each other in passing. I believe he would be fine, but who's not going to be fine when they're at Disneyland?
So is that a yes or a no?
Yes, he was fine at Disneyland.
Thanks. And isn't it true that his depression was many months before Disney? And isn't it, well, isn't that true?
I believe that he had depression mostly throughout his life.
And were you aware that he was in some therapy or counseling about depression?
No, I was not aware of that.
Were you aware that his mom actually got him some assistance to deal with the depression he was dealing with?
No, I was not aware of that.
Is this the first time you're hearing of it?
Yes.
So the Disney trip took place in what time, do you recall?
February? of 2024.
And what caused the hardship between you and Matt in relation to the Disney trip?
His drinking was the start of it, and he was rough with the children. He got mad that they had spilt goldfish crackers on the bed. My sister had brushed it off the bed.
Now, was this at Disney?
Yes, this is in the Disneyland Hotel.
So I'm going to pause because that wasn't my question. I think that's my error. I didn't properly state it. Are you familiar with the time in which you said, at this point, I don't know if Matt will be going to Disney?
Correct.
That's the event I'm referring to.
Okay.
So I apologize about that. That's exhibit number 28, page 3. Looks like it occurred on January 13th, 2024.
Okay.
What precipitated Matt not going to Disney in January of 2024?
I believe it was just one of our arguments. It probably had something to do with the truck. It probably had something to do with me, quote unquote, having an affair.
Was he right?
No, because the affair was a one-night stand.
Was it close in time to January or December? Or
No.
No, okay. So he had suspicion, and so you're just continually bickering and battling with one another, I guess. Is that?
Yes.
Now, Disney didn't just come together in a weekend, did it?
No, it did not.
Indeed, this is a big Disney trip, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
This is a Disney trip that had you there, right?
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Cheyenne and Steele.
Yes.
Did Lucas go?
No, he did not.
Okay, Cheyenne and Steele. And then Tara Lynn, right?
Yes.
Her husband, Dan,
David.
David, their children,
Yes.
and then Kevin
Yes.
and Rachel,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
everybody, right?
Yes. Even a few you're missing.
Yeah. How many total, do you remember?
18.
I know you love Disney because I've read testimony before. You do love Disney, right?
I do.
Happiest place on earth, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. And so this experience was quite grand for the family, wasn't
Yes, it was.
it? And how many days were you guys in California doing that?
I lived in California,
I don't know.
but my family had come in for, I believe, 4, maybe 5 days, but we attended the parks for 3 days.
That's awesome. And in Utah, we say going to California, but when you're there, you just do a day trip, right?
Yeah.
Here it's different. So how long did you think this planning for the Disney trip took?
At least a year, I believe.
So it was a plan for, you went in, was it February of 2024? Does that sound right?
Yes.
You went in February 24 and you're going back to like February of 2023 to begin the plan of Disney, right?
I believe so. My mother is the one who did most of the planning.
Yeah, but that's pretty close, isn't it?
I believe so.
Yeah, you guys didn't just stay at the hotel across the street, did you?
No, but it's a pretty good place to stay.
It is, yeah. But you stayed in the Grand California, is that right? Where'd you stay when you were
No,
at
we
Disney?
stayed in the Disneyland Hotel.
In the Disneyland Hotel,
Yeah.
on site, right?
Yes.
And then you
In
also
the Disney bubble.
in the and you also did an Airbnb time, is that right?
They did, yes.
Yeah. And so this was an event planned for a significant amount of time, right?
Yes.
And for you to send a text on January 13th to say, I don't know if Matt will be going, that was a big deal, wasn't it?
It could have been, yes. He would have just been upset that he was not included.
Yeah. Would you say that this was the beginning of the real deterioration of your marriage around that time? Or was it before that?
I would say it started in June of 2023.
And once again, I'll strike that. And so was your understanding at the beginning of this Disneyland adventure that all of these family members would be going,
Yes, plus some.
plus some? And so Kevin would be going?
Yes.
And it was, now I'll go to the question that you and I mistook. There was an experience at Disneyland where one of your siblings told you about Matt's bad behavior. Is that right?
Correct.
What happened?
My children were, it was Cheyenne, Steele, and Terrelyn's two children, and they were hanging out in our room, Matt's and my children's room. And my kids spilt goldfish on the bed, and he was upset. And my sister said, "Oh, man, it's no big deal," paraphrasing. And she brushed off the crackers onto the floor. And he proceeded to get very upset. And instead of confronting my sister about it, he took my children into the bathroom. And my sister said she heard spanking and my children crying.
Who in your family became aware of this?
As far as I know, it was Tara Lynn. I believe her husband. I don't know who else became aware of it. I believe Rachel. I don't know how.
Your mom?
I believe so.
Kevin?
I'm not sure.
Tim?
I'm not sure.
Did Rory know?
I'm not sure.
Where were you when this happened?
In the park?
In the park, and they were in the hotel?
Yes.
And did Terrelyn express fear for herself?
I don't think she had fear for herself. No.
Or did she express a fear for anybody in particular?
My children.
And what'd she say?
She just didn't like how Matt was treating them.
She thought he was being abusive.
Yes.
Did she use that word?
I don't recall.
Have any of your siblings or spouses been fearful of Matt?
I'm gonna
Yes.
object. This calls for speculation.
It's speculation. I'm going to instruct the jury to disregard that answer.
Any of your siblings or spouses expressed to you their fear of Matt?
I'm gonna object. It calls for hearsay.
I think that's hearsay too.
I didn't ask for what they said. I just asked if they expressed. It's a yes or no, Your Honor.
But you have the answer though. It's exactly the exact same thing. I'm going to listen to you.
You described an incident where Matt shot a bobcat.
Yes.
Did Matt share that experience with other members of your family, like your siblings or their spouses?
I believe so.
And what do you recall from that?
I was not in those conversations, so I don't know.
You never heard it?
Not him telling this story.
Did they ever tell you about hearing about that story?
Not directly, no.
How about indirectly?
Through the grapevine, sure.
Through what grapevine?
My sister telling me that her husband was,
Again, Your Honor, I'm gonna object to hearsay at this point.
Getting on hearsay here, I think it's fair to say to the point that we just got the hearsay is correct.
So was Terrelyn aware that your brother or that Matt had shot the bobcat?
I believe so.
Did she tell you she was aware?
I believe so.
Has Terrelyn ever told you that she's fearful of Matt?
Yes.
Has any other siblings or spouses told you that?
Again.
That's hearsay.
Sustained. I'm
Just
gonna
trying.
instruct the jury to
Just
disregard
trying,
that.
Judge. Trying my best. They'll testify later. We can ask them.
That'd be fair. So long as it's not hearsay.
Shortly after Disney, which Matt went to, right?
Yes, he did.
Shortly after Disney, you had an opportunity to visit with Matt's mom, Diane, right?
Yes.
And this was in regards, well, I don't know what it was in regards to, but there was a conversation about Las Vegas. Is that right?
Yes.
And can you tell the court what is the Las Vegas deal in your family with Matt?
It was an annual summer trip that Diane and her late husband always planned. And we would go to TD Village where they enjoyed their timeshare. And Matt and myself, it originally started Matt and myself and his son before I had children. We joined them yearly. We enjoyed Las Vegas. We enjoyed the lazy river. So it was something that we enjoyed doing with them. And when her husband passed, she continued the annual trip.
And what happened in 2024? I'm sorry, what was that last part? I'm sorry, I'm going to ask a question instead of forcing anything on you. I apologize. Did you have a conversation about the Las Vegas trip after your Disney trip with Diane?
Yes, I did.
And what happened? What'd she say?
She suggested that we not go on that trip
And why was that?
due to our financial burdens.
And what was your thoughts on that?
I was not pleased about it, but Matt was more upset with me than he was his mom. And he told me I owed him a Vegas trip.
Matt said you owed him a Vegas trip.
Yes,
Why would he say you owed him a Vegas trip when his mom was the one to provide the Vegas trip?
because in some way he felt that it was my responsibility on why we had to cancel.
And why is that?
You'd have to ask Diane on why she canceled.
What did you say to Diane that caused her to cancel it?
I don't know if I said anything directly to Diane. I don't recall. I may have said something.
Were you surprised that she canceled it?
A little, yes,
Has Diane helped you and Matt throughout your marriage?
she has.
Has she helped you financially?
Yes, she bought us a home.
Bought you a home?
She did, her and her late husband.
And what about the land that the home's on in Temecula? 7 acres, right?
Yes,
Did she buy that?
it was originally in Matt's name, but when he got the IRS issue, he transferred it to her name so it would be safe.
Did Matt buy it or did his mom buy it originally?
I don't know. I wasn't that part of the financials.
So you weren't aware? You've never been
You would
told?
have to ask Diane. I know it was in his name at some point. I know that there were loans back and forth between Matt and his parents, but I do not know the ins and the outs.
Has Matt's parents consistently helped you throughout your marriage financially, providing financial assistance?
Yes,
And how about your mom? Did she do the same?
yes, not as much as Diane and Tom did.
So your mom would send out money when bills were tight and things like that?
Yep,
And Diane,
$100 here, $100 there when I asked.
going back to the Disneyland experience, do you recall a conversation that your mom had with Matt regarding the anger about not going to Disneyland?
Yes,
And what did you tell your mom to cause your mom to call Matt and to chide him?
I don't recall what I had said to her. I know I asked her not to call him and she took it upon herself and did anyway.
And
I
did
knew
you-
that it wouldn't have gone over well.
And did it go over well?
No, it did not.
During that time, did you say to your mom, I can't recover it?
Yes, I did.
What are you referring to?
Recovering the argument that we were having more than likely about my infidelity.
Oh. And how did your mom respond to that text? Do you recall?
No, I don't.
Didn't she say you can?
Yes.
Just
that's
say
she
what
said.
you need to. Isn't that what she said?
I believe so.
You said, no, Mom, it's bad. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
then she said, what can I do to help if I can?
Okay. Yes, that's what she said.
Do you think your mom was trying to help you in your marriage with Matt?
That could be debated.
Okay, let's debate it. Do you think she didn't?
On some levels, I knew that she had a strong hatred for Matt. So what happened in our marriage, she really didn't care.
Do you think she tried to help you in your marriage with Matt?
At some points,
Think she tried to help during times of friction between her and Matt? Or would she not help your marriage during that time?
maybe she felt like she was helping, but she really wasn't.
How about when she came down in May to California, May of 2024, before you went to Utah? She came to your house and stayed at your house, didn't she?
Yes, she did.
And how was that visit?
It was turbulent.
It's turbulent. Why?
They had a little tiff about something and they bickered back and forth for a moment and it was awkward.
Did your mom spend the night?
I believe so.
Yeah. And did she and you then go to her friend Amy's?
We did.
And who watched the kids during that time?
Matthew.
When your mom called Matt, didn't she say to you, quote, "I just told your husband, don't mess with my child"?
Yes.
So how was he messing with you?
By arguing with me.
And so would you frequently tell your sister and your mom about all the arguments you and Matt had?
I would send them the voice clips so they could hear it firsthand.
Yeah. And like we explained, or we talked about the previous clips, it shows back and forth, isn't it?
Yes. Some points it is back and forth. Sometimes I allowed him to get under my skin.
Do you recall when she said, "I'll just drive 9 hours and strangle him"?
Yes, I recall that.
What was that in relation to?
Driving 9 hours from Utah to California.
No. What was the event that she sent that text in relation to?
The same, I believe the same messages that you're talking about now.
It was when she called him and told him, "Don't mess with my child."
Right.
Right. Do you remember when that was?
No,
I told you January 13th, 2020.
no, I would not have any reason to disagree.
And do you think your mom was serious that she's going to drive 9 hours and strangle him?
I don't know necessarily strangle him, but
Kill him.
cause him harm.
Yeah, she was going to, wasn't she?
I feel like she wanted to,
And she did, didn't she?
ultimately.
She did? She went to California and strangled him?
No,
What happened about a month after that text?
I don't know. Could
You guys were in Disneyland having fun, weren't you?
I don't believe there was much interaction between my mother and Matt. There was 18 of us. There was no way that we were all going to be in one big group. We split off into smaller groups.
Sure. But 1 month later, approximately, Matt, you, Cheyenne, Steele, all the family met up at Disneyland, according to the plan, right?
Yes,
And your mom's threat of strangling you knew to be a joke. Indeed, you testified of that today, didn't you?
yes.
But somehow when I question you that, you don't want to acknowledge that it was a joke. Is that because I'm wearing this suit? Is it because you don't like me? Or is it hard to tell the truth? If you think it's a joke, why don't you just say, it was a joke?
Because on some level, I really honestly don't think it was a joke.
Okay, then tell me on what level.
That she wanted to cause Matt harm. And he's not.
Your mom ended up saying sorry for calling him, didn't she?
In an actual text?
Yeah. Do you want to go to it?
Yes, please.
All right, page 11 of exhibit 28.
I don't believe that's what the I'm sorry was in reference to.
Was it in reference to you dry heaving?
I believe so.
It was in around that time that she said, just come here for a break then. Isn't that true?
I believe so.
Right after she said, what can I do to help if I can? Right?
Just a moment, hang on. Restate your question, please.
And earlier in that conversation, she says, what can I do to help if I can?
Right, yes.
And then within 24 hours of that little spat between Matt and Tracey on page 12, she says, Matt says you have food poisoning, and that's why you've been acting so crazy past 2 days. Right?
Yes, that's what he claimed.
Well, that's what she said he claimed, right?
Right,
So they had a conversation, right?
yes. And I did not have food poisoning.
I'm sorry,
I did not have food poisoning.
what did you have?
Nothing.
You're just faking it?
No, I was not faking it. It was a lie that he told my mother.
It was a lie he told your mom?
Yes.
What
Because
was
I
it?
remember when he said that, I was in shock.
And what,
Because he didn't want to admit that we were arguing about my infidelity.
I see. That seems to be a common occurrence, doesn't it?
He loved to throw it in my face.
And you regretted that, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
You regretted that not only did you cheat on him, but that you sort of had to hold it and not tell him.
I had to eat crow every day he wanted me to.
Yeah, even when you came to Utah and met men here in Utah, right?
I'm sorry?
Even when you came to Utah on June 20th and met men here in Utah.
He knew
Right.
nothing of those men.
I'm not asking if he knew. I'm saying that you felt bad about it, so much so that when you came to Utah, you started doing it again, didn't you?
I was just trying to be happy.
By meeting other men. Is that accurate or not?
Sure.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
It's okay to be honest today.
I get it.
You've done all you need to do with the state. You can be honest today. It's done. You just need to serve time. Okay? You understand?
Yes.
They can't hold it against you anymore. You've done your job. Okay? Good. After Matt died, you also met with some men after that too, didn't you?
It was only 2.
Do you remember the evening that the police came and Matt's body was on the ground?
Yes.
Did you sleep at your house that night or your mother's house that night?
No, they got us a hotel.
Who got you a hotel?
The police.
Did you sleep in the hotel?
I did.
How late were you at the police department that night?
2, 3 o'clock in the morning.
So
I don't recall. It was a blur. That honestly was a blur.
I'm sure it was. It was very traumatic. A person had died. I get that. Was it traumatic for you?
It was very traumatic.
Yes, I believe that. But isn't it true that the American Fork Police Department tried to help the family because it happened in your home, that they provided a hotel
Yes.
for a couple days?
Yes.
And isn't it true that during the time that you were provided a hotel, you wanted to bring a man to that hotel?
I thought about it.
Yeah, and isn't it true you told your mom that?
Yes, I did.
And isn't it true that it was only a 3-day stay that the American Fork Police Department provided?
Yes, but I never brought anybody to the hotel.
But you talked about it.
Right?
And this is all during the time that you're smoking marijuana, right?
Yes.
That you're really not having any communication with Kevin, right?
Correct.
No communication really at all with Kevin, right?
Very little.
Yeah. Do you think the fact that you're providing this statement to the court now or to law enforcement 3 times, that you've improved your ability on how to state your case, state your story of what happened?
Yes, that seems fair.
Do you recall during the trial, actually, just for illustration, do you recall the date of June 12th, 2025? That's a tough one, isn't it?
June 12th is 2025?
Yeah.
I don't know the significance.
I'll provide you a picture.
Oh. Yes, I remember that.
Does that look familiar?
Yes, it does.
June 12th, 2025, you met with law enforcement and prosecution regarding your time to be truthful, right?
Yes.
And you had, and that picture just shows you being there. And who's in that picture, do you know?
I'm in that picture. My attorney, Mike Brown, is in that picture.
Mr. Brown, who's here?
Mr. Watabe, Mr. Brown, and I don't know her name, but they're paralegal.
And a police officer.
He's not pictured, but yes.
Yeah, he's not pictured. Yeah.
Well, you can see his
Can you
fingers.
see his hand? Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. I can't identify his fingers, just his fingers, but
I'm only providing this picture to demonstrate that you met with prosecution and law enforcement to talk about providing the truth.
I did.
And during that time that you talked to them, you talked about times that the conspiracy between yourself, Kevin, and Tracey was going on, right?
Yes.
And during that time, you provided honest information to them, right?
To the best of my knowledge, yes.
Yep, to the best of your knowledge. You've been in jail now, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, 8 months, right?
Yes.
And you've had the opportunity for 8 months to think about this case, right?
Yes.
And do you do much more in jail than think about this case?
I tried honestly not to think about it because it's traumatic and I didn't know what I was going to do with all of it.
So you tried not to think about it.
Yes.
And so are you trying more nowadays to think about it now that you're in prison?
Now that I'm more sober, yes.
You had 8 months of sobriety of marijuana at that point in time, right?
Right.
And so during this interview that you had with them, you told them of the story involving the conspiracy. Is that right?
Yes.
And they asked you a question. They asked you about getting a rental car.
Yes.
And they asked if you had told anyone about it, right?
I believe so.
And who knew about it?
A handful of people.
I mean, who?
Tara Lynn knew about it. Rachel knew about it. I believe my friend Stephanie Slocum knew about it. My mother knew about it. Through the grapevine, I believe my father knew about it.
Anyone else?
Not that I can recall.
Yeah.
There may have been other people in passing, but nobody that I had told.
Right. And the whole play on this rental car was for you to go down to Enterprise in American Fork, right? And to, was it Enterprise? I think Enterprise.
Are you talking about California now? Or you?
No, I'm talking about American Fork when you went down to attempt a rental.
Okay.
You know what I'm referring to?
Yes. I thought you were talking about the first one you asked me. I thought you were talking about the rental car in California.
Then let's go back. Let me correct.
Sure.
I'm aware, and I think we are all aware, that at the time you rented your vehicle in California and came to Utah, that Tara Lynn was there, right?
Yes.
And you explained that your father was there,
Yes.
so he knew you got a rental too, right?
Yes.
And then obviously you're going to Utah, so Tracey knew
Yes.
and Rachel knew, right?
Yes.
Let's go back and let's talk about the day you were going to, well, let's go forward and talk about the day you were going to rent a car to go back to California.
Okay.
Okay. And who knew about that?
Kevin knew about that. My mom knew about that.
In this interview, did you say Kevin knew about it?
I don't recall.
Isn't it true that they asked who knew about it and you did not say Kevin?
I don't recall. But yes, Kevin knew about it because I had asked him to watch my children as I went down to get the rental car.
Thank you. I appreciate that information. Do you recall the trial with Kevin?
Yes, I do.
And do you recall listening to the audio of that conversation with Kevin?
Yes, we listened to it today as well.
Yes, we did. Can we pull that up? I'll find it. That was that big,
States 11.
that was that big tag of ones you did in a row.
States 11.
11?
States.
You can pull up exhibit 11. Let's listen to that. There it is.
Sorry. I need you to watch my kids for 5 minutes because I need to go to a rental car place to make my story plausible that I need to go over there and they need to turn me away and say, no, we cannot rent you this car because your driver's license is out of state. Thank you. I'm leaving in like 2 minutes.
Do you remember hearing that during the trial of Kevin?
Yes,
Do you remember being asked about that?
yes. And until it was played in Kevin's trial, I did not recall that I had actually knocked on his door and told him to watch my children.
Until 2 months ago, you did not recall having that conversation with Kevin, right?
Correct?
Do you remember what your testimony was today?
That I remembered it?
Yeah. Just
Because
came
it was
so
played?
easy, so easy and quick, right?
Yes,
When in truth, your memory 60 days ago, you didn't even remember that conversation. Isn't that true?
yes,
And 60 days ago, you even called it an accidental recording. You didn't even know you're recording. Isn't that true?
I would still call it an accidental recording.
I would too. I believe that. I guess the point I'm getting at is that your truthfulness in presenting it to the jury today is very rehearsed and very prepared because you had an opportunity on this day to advise them of that audio, which they knew about and they even asked you about. And you did not say that Kevin knew you were going to the rental company. And then June to January, so 7 months later, you were asked again, except this time dressed like you are and in custody like you are as a witness, and you didn't remember. But then today, when asked that question, it came just like, yeah, Kevin knew. Of course he knew. Don't you find it odd that you're willing to just allow the narrative of law enforcement to tell you what you remember?
I don't think it's the narrative of law enforcement. I think it's the recorded audio.
It is a recorded audio, but your memory of this recorded audio is what we're looking for. Your memory of the events that took place need to be accurate. They need to be from you. If you don't remember, you just need to say, I don't remember. You have an audio of it, I get it, but I don't remember. But when you told the jury on direct examination, you didn't offer that information. If it weren't for me here right now pointing it out to you, they would never know that. They would just think, yeah, well, she remembered her and Kevin, and she was walking down the hallway and she said, hey, I'm going to the rental company. I'll be right back. But that's not your memory. You had opportunities to tell them that as you were being truthful of who all knew and what all was going on. Right?
Yes.
I mean, that's your goal, is to just provide the truth and justice. Right?
Yes.
Very hampered by your marijuana use, isn't it?
I don't know how I'm supposed to answer that question.
Man, weed is
Truthfully.
legal. If he don't stop,
If your memory's hampered by your marijuana use, then just say yes. If it's not, say
I'm
no.
sure it has.
How many other kinds of things did you say are feeling pressured to comply with the state's narrative of the conspiracy?
I'm not sure I understand your
is the
question.
officer back behind
How
her
many
sleep?
other things do you have to say to the jury today, and to the jury before, and to law enforcement, because you have felt pressured to talk about an alleged conspiracy to commit murder?
I don't think that's a fair question.
Okay.
I'm so glad he looked up. Oh my gosh, because I thought he was sleeping. I was like, if he bob his head with that, that nod off, I was gonna be done. The officer that went to sleep. Oh gosh. Oh, I'm so glad he opened his eyes because I was like, oh my goodness, I'm not gonna make it through this case. Y'all know I am not mature enough for this shit. And if he was back there asleep, I was gonna be done. He rested his eyes. Oh, I thought he's gonna do that nod, boy, with the head bob. Oh man, he probably was asleep. He probably heard me. All right, my bad, y'all. Oh.
When did you decide to murder Matt?
2 weeks before he came out, a week after being at my mom's house.
And was that by way of agreement or something you just came in your mind that that's what we're going to do?
It was posed to me by my mother.
I'm sorry?
It was posed to me by my mother.
2 weeks before Matt came out?
Yes.
Do you know in prior testimony you said it was 3 days before Matt came out? Want me to find it?
If you'd like.
If I told you that you said it was 3 days before Matt came out, would you have any reason to disagree with that?
No, but I don't think it matters when we actually started to conspire. Just the fact that we did conspire.
Did your mom ask you to make phone call recordings of phone calls between you and Matt?
No, she was very upset when she found out I recorded so many phone calls.
Did your mom know that you were making I'm saying it wrong, I'm sorry. That you're making recordings of phone calls on July 11th? Was
I'm
she aware
sorry,
of
say that again?
Was your mom aware that you were making recordings of phone calls July 11th, 2024 with Matt,
I don't believe she was aware of them until after he died.
including the 12th, right?
Yes.
So your mom was not aware that you were being quite lovey-dovey with Matt on those phone calls, was she?
That was the plan, to be lovey-dovey.
Do you remember the question?
No, repeat
The
it.
question was, your mom was not aware that you were being quite lovey-dovey on those telephone conversations with Matt.
I believe she was. She told me to be sweet.
She told you to be sweet,
Keep him calm.
to keep
Keep
him
him
calm.
coming out here.
So she's the one who's telling you to keep him coming out here.
It was an agreed upon,
Where were you when that agreement took place?
I don't recall,
What were you wearing that day?
probably something pink.
Are you being facetious?
No, most of my wardrobe is pink.
Okay, I'll accept that. I thought you were being facetious, but that's nice. These are hard times, Kate. I get it. Do you remember what was the scenario of this alleged agreement? I mean, were you in a room? Were you in a car? Were you in a yard? Were you in
When
a?
we were originally talking about killing Matt,
Yeah.
it was probably out on the lawn where we spent most of our time talking. I made her leave her phone inside and I left my phone inside.
Wait a minute. So I just got to cut in real quick. Now, I can't believe that we got two adults. One is researching all this stuff about Donna Adelson and the Adelson family and how they screwed up so they can try to figure out how not to screw up. And then we got her that she's like, well, I told her to leave her phone inside. We go outside. We'll talk about the K of Matt and how we going to plan this out. Like, what I don't understand about all these people is how all these people are adults, right? They know right from wrong. They know we in the year 2023, 2024, anything past probably the 2000s, like you gonna get caught, right? Nobody ever says, shit, this may not be a good idea. Like nobody ever gets on a stand like, I had this epiphany, even though he was on his way, Mom, this may not be a good idea. Or how about this, Kate? This may not be a good idea. Or how about maybe Kevin? This may not be a good idea. I know we were doing jokes and giggles, and that's what I'm here for, shit and giggles. But this just may not be the brightest idea that we have. And, we got 3 damn working brains and nobody says, nobody, you cannot say this is for real. Like nobody says anything. I just don't understand. I don't understand how people operate. Like nobody thinks outside the box. Everybody in the same damn box. All right. I just don't understand. Oh,
Did you ever tell your attorney that you had an agreement 2 weeks before Matt came out to kill Matt?
I don't recall.
Do you recall your attorney providing a document to the prosecutor about your proffered testimony?
Yes, I do. And I remember agreeing upon that proffered testimony.
Do you know what proffered means?
Not off the top of my head.
I had to learn too, so that's okay. If I told you that proffered means a person will speak for you of what your testimony would be, that would be proffered testimony. Do you have any reason to disagree with that?
No.
And to your understanding, is that your understanding what proffered testimony was in
Yes.
this case? So your attorney wrote up a proffer of what you would testify to.
Based on what I had told him, yes.
Right. Your lawyer did a great job, didn't he?
I think my lawyer did a kick-ass job.
He sure did. He got you a 2nd-degree felony, maximum 15 years, right?
I'm
1 to
not
15.
sure. I'm not sure how much I'll actually do.
Well, on murder, it's 1 to 15 on the 2nd degree.
The Board of Pardons decides a lot.
So it could be less than 15.
I don't know.
Well, we'll talk about that more. In your proffer, did you have an opportunity to review this with your attorney before he sent it out to the prosecutor?
I did.
Oh, can we bring up digitally? I have it on paper, but if you have it digital, we'll do that for our jury. If that's okay. This is me taking advantage of the technology of the state. Thank you very much. Okay, can you present it to me? Judge, I shall declare Defense Exhibit 1.
Any objection, Mr. Rapavi?
No objection.
It's going to be Mr. Brown. Okay. Thank you.
Do you see it?
Yes, I do.
All right. What's the date on this?
June 6th, 2025.
And this was in and around the time that you decided to be truthful, right?
Yes.
This is in and around the time that you spoke with your lawyer about the facts, as you recall, to the best of your ability, right?
Yes.
And then he drafted this 2-page and a little bit, right?
Yes.
And in this fact scenario right here, do you ever talk about having that meeting with your mom 2 weeks before Matt got there?
I don't recall.
I will give you an opportunity.
I'd have to read it.
Yep, I will give you an opportunity to read. So we'll pause.
You can move the page down. You could move the page down again. A little bit farther up. Thank you. Scroll one more time.
Do you remember the question?
Nope.
Good. That's all right. I didn't expect you to because you just read a lot of paragraphs and that's okay. The question is, do you recall telling your attorney that you had an agreement 2 weeks before Matt got there that you would murder Matt?
No, I don't recall telling him that. Is that in there? Was that in?
No, I don't see it.
Okay.
I don't see it. Paragraph 9, you see paragraph 9? Can we go to paragraph 9? Tracey would talk to Kathryn about taking violent action against Matt to remove him from the situation. Kathryn indulged Tracey, but did not think Tracey would follow through. That doesn't sound like a conspiracy. Does it to you?
No,
You have
but
to
it's,
you have to come to an agreement, don't you?
yes.
Tracey would make mention of her intentions in passing. I would ask to publish it this time.
Any objection? Objection. Let's publish exhibit, defense exhibit 1. Pardon? Defense, yeah, I asked.
There we go, paragraph 9. Halfway through that paragraph, Tracey would make mention of her intentions in passing, not in any concerted effort where Kathryn, Tracey, and Kevin would meet to discuss a plan. Right? Intentions of meeting to discuss. That doesn't say an agreement, does it?
Like, no, it doesn't say meeting.
However, in retrospect, Tracey proved to be true to her word to remove Matt. Right?
Correct.
And so you don't have a description of when you came up with the agreement. You just say it was a couple weeks before. We already know that there's some frustration between Matt and Tracey. It's been like that for a long time, wouldn't you say?
Yes.
Based on the evidence you're feeding to your family about your relationship, wouldn't you say?
Yes.
Isn't it fair to say that you're feeding your family that you're fearful of Matt if he comes to Utah, wouldn't you say?
Yes.
You're fearful for your life that Matt would threaten and physically harm you while you're here in Utah, wouldn't you say you fed that to your family?
Yes.
Even though Matt had never physically touched you in any abusive way since your marriage in 2018, isn't that right?
16. but
16.
yes.
Thank you. I apologize. Did you ever tell your family that he never physically assaulted you during your marriage? Or did in turn you do the opposite and lead them to believe that in fact you were victimized by his physical assaultive behavior?
I never told them that he was physically abusive to me, but he was very scary.
But he was scary. So scary, in fact, that you were afraid he was going to come up and kill you?
Yeah, I didn't know what was going to happen. The night I got to my mother's house, I was scared shitless.
Because you went to work, rented a car, took his kids 1,000 miles away, and sent them a text, didn't you?
I did.
You didn't even draft the text.
No, I had Carolyn help me because I was driving.
You sent them a text saying adios, right?
More words or less.
Yeah, we'll get into that too. Well, don't you think that would frustrate any spouse, male or female?
I can assume so.
I do have to talk about this magnetic screen door thing. Let me go to that exhibit. It's the one before the incident. It gives the best picture.
19.
Is it 19? I mean, I've seen these, but I never bought one. But you know what I'm talking about, right? The screen door.
Yes, I do.
I thought about buying one, but I don't know.
They're pretty nifty.
Are they? They're still around. I see them. Oh, yeah, if we could publish, thanks. And so this is a view of your mom's home before Matt arrived, right?
I don't believe it was before Matt arrived. I don't know when this picture was actually taken.
Well, we got the toys of the kids, right?
Yes.
We got this cool tunnel that the kids can go climb through, right?
Yep.
And we have this line that goes right down the opening of the front door, right?
Yes, but the screen door was put back on after the incident. So when this picture was actually taken, I don't know.
Yeah. And does that center line divide with Velcro?
No, it divides with magnets.
Right. And then the exterior is Velcro, right?
Yes.
So the framing is Velcro, right? The
Yes.
interior is. And so to take it off, how long does that take?
5 seconds.
5 seconds. But you do mention that, right? You do mention that in paragraph 11 of Defendant's Exhibit 1 in your proffer. Tracey removed the magnetic screen door, which attached to the front door. Do you remember saying that
Yes, I
to
do.
your attorney? This is where Matt would likely enter the home.
Yes.
Did you think he was going to enter some other way?
No.
Just the way that's written certainly makes it seem like a conspiracy, doesn't it? He would likely enter through the front door. Or possibly through the garage. I digress. The intent was to make it so Matt could enter the home more easily.
Yes, because when you want the screen open, it opens like a curtain and it just kind of have to duck to get in.
How much effort does it
Not much, but we were trying to make it more welcoming.
take? And you told him that your door was always unlocked.
Yes, I did.
And you gave him the code.
Yes, I did.
At any time that day, did you think, I'm just going to tell him I want a divorce?
I had tried that on multiple occasions, not while I was in Utah, but I had tried it on multiple occasions and he told me he would not give me a divorce.
Did you believe him?
Yeah, I did. That he would not give me a divorce. Yes, I believed him.
Did you think you were stuck in that marriage no matter what you did?
Yes, I did.
You couldn't divorce him, could you?
Financially, I was unable to divorce him.
Financially, you were broke with him.
Yes, I was.
You're broke being divorced too, right?
I've never been divorced, so I don't know.
Did finances have anything to do with it?
Filing papers, yes, it takes money, and I did not have any extra money stashed away that I could just go drop a couple $100s on filing papers without him questioning.
So it's better just to murder him. Not in
At the
retrospect.
time, that's what I thought. Yep.
The judge has informed me today that he has some responsibilities. So I want to close today, but we'll pick up tomorrow.
I'll be here.
I know. Thank you, Kate.
Right, is that,
No, I will close tomorrow, today, with this line of questions.
okay.
Sorry, Judge. That pause is just too
We
long.
were getting
I
excited.
know.
That's right.
I apologize. My bad. Just getting my notes in order here. I'm sorry. So, oops. On January 20th, you were here in this courthouse and you testified at Kevin's trial. Do you remember that?
I don't remember the date, but yes, I did testify.
And similar to today, you testified at one point and then took a break for the next day and then came back. Is that right?
Yes, I did.
And that's going to happen today too. And I'm sorry, but I still have a few questions I need to ask you tomorrow.
I'm gonna come for you for my last wages.
See what the judge can do. Do you remember what the last thing you said when getting questioned on your first day?
No, I do not.
On page 135 of the transcripts, it says, and it ends on page 136. It says, when did you see your mother again after that? Do you remember what time? Referring to July 12th, 2024. When did you see your mother again after that time? Do you remember what time? Do you know what you said, what time?
After what time? I'm not really sure of the
Asked
question.
about when she came back from sushi.
Oh, okay.
Do you remember what time?
No, I
You
don't.
said maybe around 3.
Sounds about right.
And then you know what the next question asked was?
No, I do not.
Okay. What about Kevin? And isn't it true that you said, I believe I saw him walking into the house around 3 o'clock. Did you have any interaction with him between 3 and 9:30 or 3 and 10 p.m.? I don't believe so, was your answer. Do you remember that?
Sounds plausible.
And then miraculously, the very next day, after you got a chance to sleep on it and thought about your testimony, you then told a new story about Kevin, didn't you? The last question asked on the first day was, what was your interaction with Kevin when he got back from sushi to 10 o'clock at night when Matt got there? And you said, he walked by. And then the next morning you said, I remember something. I had a huge conversation with my mom and Kevin and me in the front lawn, and we talked all about the murder plan. Do you
Is
remember that?
exactly what I said?
That's not exactly what you said.
I said, is that exactly what I said?
Would you like to see it?
On the next day?
The next day?
You're saying the next day I stated something else.
The next day you stated that you forgot, that you now remember that you had a meeting on the front lawn with Tracey and you and Kevin and planned what you're going to do that night to kill Matt.
I don't know if it was a huge conversation, but yeah, it was. We're going to follow through with this.
Was it more than, I believe I saw him walking into the house around 3. And when did you see him after that? I don't believe so. Was it more than you didn't have a conversation with him?
I don't recall.
Yes. The next day you talked about what you testified to of today, that you and your mom and your brother talked on the front lawn after their sushi. Isn't that true?
I don't believe it was the front lawn. I believe it was the back lawn. But I do believe that after he walked in the house, he may have come out and had a little sit down with us.
Of course, you had an opportunity to leave this courthouse, go to bed, sleep on it, think about how you did, and come up with a whole new story that you never told prosecution about. In this interview on June, you never told prosecution about that meeting on the grass, did you?
I don't believe so.
You never said it on the first day of your testimony of the trial with Kevin, did you?
I don't believe so.
You never said it in your proffer that you provided your awesome attorney to get you the deal of the century for a murder, did you?
I don't think so.
But you had a chance to sleep on it. And when you came the next day, came up with a new story, didn't you?
I don't think came up with a new story, but remembered more details.
That's all I have for today, Your Honor.
Thank you.